Once, when I was fairly young, I went to see a travelling circus. The experience was very bizarre. The circus itself turned out to be second-rate, and the performers and acrobats looked like they had fallen on hard times and had only just recovered from alcohol addiction. The clowns moved with slow and uneven movements. They made valiant efforts to entertain the children in the crowd, but the whiff of stale whiskey on their breath and their slurred words indicated their addictions were not entirely in the past. One acrobat climbed a rope ladder, looked apprehensively at the tightrope stretched out between two towering columns, and wet his pants. The children laughed at the emerging wet stain on his oversized striped trousers. He climbed down, swore at something, and then threw an unprovoked punch at nobody that knocked off the ringmaster's top hat. The children laughed at this. The circus was eventually shut down. The main argument against the circus involved drunken clowns with criminal records, backstage punch-ups between performers, and the fact that the food vendors were prostitutes whose street business had seen better days. It even turned out that one or two had syphilis, and there was a brief outbreak in the area. To top it all off, the ringleader was alleged to have involvement with a mafiosi-style organisation. Even as a child, I found it odd when I saw the ringleader talking to some men after the circus. The men that surrounded him were all wearing black suits and overcoats. I recall the presence of a black suitcase, which the ringleader handed over to the men in overcoats, before the men took turns kissing him on the cheek. However, despite the criminal aspect of the circus that was later revealed, I found the strangest part of the circus to be the rides. It appeared that most of them had been constructed without much consultation with engineering experts. One of the rides was the ghost train. I remember there was a man who walked around inside. He wore a plastic mask, crept up to the trains, and went grrrr to the children as they passed. When it was alleged the man in the mask also had a record of an exceedingly dubious nature, the circus owners quickly disavowed any connection to the man and said he'd never been on their books. As it turned out, in this case the circus was telling the truth. The man in the mask was actually an escaped offender who was on a police wanted list. In the end, when the criminal case against the circus had concluded, 16 people in the circus were charged with various offences. 11 of them served sentences in various penitentiaries, and the rest were issued with community service notices. 1 year after the circus was shut down, I saw in the news that a dozen members of an organised crime syndicate were arrested. The charges were varied, but included running counterfeit businesses. In the court trial, one of the mob bosses was quoted as saying, "I wish those circus clowns knew how to keep the lid on their bottle." It turned out the police had been tipped off by one of the circus clowns, who cut a deal with the authorities in exchange for information. Instead of jail, he was allowed to attend an AA meeting. When on the stand, the same mob boss said, "The clown may think he's funny, but we'll have the last laugh. That clown has worn his last rubber nose."